The 40 acres is buzzing with Texas football blowing out the Gators this past weekend. Women's soccer has won the SEC championship, and the regular season has tipped off for both men's and women's basketball. All this more on College Press Box. Welcome and good evening to College Press Box. I'm Ayan Masud, co-hosting with Ikey Kohler, who will be joining us in just a bit. We have a stacked broadcast tonight, but before we get started this evening, we want to remind you that College Press Box is brought to you by Cap Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride this weekend to this weekend's game at capmetro.org. Number 5, Texas football welcomed Florida to Austin this past Saturday, the first home game for the Longhorns since being stifled by the Georgia Bulldogs. Here's how the matchup went between the Gators and the Longhorns. The Gators from Gainesville came to the 40 acres to take on the Longhorns, and it did not go their way. Look at this play from Isaiah Bond. What a play design by Steve Sarkisian. He turns on the Jets. He doesn't get the touchdown here. He's out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Isaiah Bond is back after being injured, and just look at this blocking. Gunnar Helm at tight end rolls inside, gets a nice chip, and there goes Isaiah Bond, a perfect play design for the Longhorns. Here again, Quinn Ewers with the pump fake, shoots downfield to Matthew Golden, a wide open touchdown. The Longhorns strike first after a couple of fumbles in the first part of the game. Florida tries to get it going here, but no, the ball is out. Trey Moore's got it. The Longhorns will end up with the ball in the red zone. It's currently 7-0, but very quickly it'll turn into something else. Gunnar Helm gets the touchdown reception here. Gunnar Helm is currently in the running for the Mackey Award. And here again is Quinn Ewers with the throwback screen. This time to Quintravion Wisner, and look at him go. At the 10, almost out of bounds, but he gets his way into the end zone. Florida, once again, didn't have any points, and there the ball goes to Andrew Makuba, who's also back from injury. Makuba had an interception against Michigan earlier this year, and here goes Isaiah Bond. This time, he'll get into the end zone for 6-007 stunts on them. Once again, we have Quinn Ewers handing the ball off to Jarrett Gibson, who gets into the end zone. The Rhino scores another touchdown. Texas's victory has them well positioned in the SEC title race. Our very own Kendell Ungar was on site for this matchup, and she has a very great package for us right now.
Back at DKR Stadium, the Longhorns are fresh off the bye week and hope to limit the amount of penalties. After their previous two opponents, Georgia and Vanderbilt, they had a total of 18 penalties thrown against them. Texas outplayed Florida with 562 total yards on offense compared to the Gators' 329, and the offensive line played more as a unit, only allowing 1 sack compared to having 4 against Vanderbilt. Although Texas still needed to limit their holding penalties, the defense capitalized on its rush defense. Backup quarterback Arch Manning came into the game during the third quarter after Quinn Ewers threw for 333 yards on the day with 5 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Sarkisian was complimentary of the efforts from the team today and mentioned he thought this was probably the Longhorns' most complete game so far.
The flow of the offense was good today, and again, the offensive staff had a good plan, but I thought the players executed that plan. And anytime you come out of a game with over 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing, that's generally meaning, there's a good formula for success with what we were trying to do.
And there you have it. Texas dominates Florida 49-17 to bring home another SEC matchup win. With the regular season winding down, they'll take the win, but there is still a lot of work to be done as they head to Arkansas away next week. Reporting from DKR, I'm Kendell Ungar with TSTV Sports.
Great work out there, Kendell. For more analysis, I'm going to send it over for the first time tonight to my co-host, Ikey Kohler, with a special guest.
Hey, thanks, Ayan. I'm joined with Campbell Choate, who returns to bring us more from her viewpoint of Texas's victory over Florida. How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Anytime Texas football wins puts me in a pretty good mood till the next game, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, here we go. Let's get going. Quinn Ewers had over 300 passing yards. He had 5 touchdowns. There's unbelievable stats, 19 of 27, throwing the ball in the air. They never trailed, and the defense has never wavered at all this season. But the offense was operating on all cylinders in that game. What went right for them offensively?
Yeah, Texas heard that the College Football Playoff Committee said that they were playoff worthy and decided to show out. The bye proved to be vital for Texas, like Ayan said, especially considering the fact that Isaiah Bond, Andrew Makuba, and even Quinn Ewers needed the time off to almost fully recover from their injuries. Saturday was a good day for the run game fans because Sark's play calling was not only creative but clearly effective. Texas got their third 100-yard rushing performance, each by a different running back. Gibson, Blue, and Wisner adjusted early, and so did the play calling. Running backs only had 12 yards rushing in the first half, but had a combined 126 yards on 6 catches. Over the past 2 games, Texas's run game has shifted to short swing passes on the outside, but against the Gators, that's where it really thrived, producing 353 yards and 35 points at halftime. The catch and run game also turned up with 3 passes that went 20 or more yards, like Wisner's 50-yard touchdown in the second and Bond's 34-yard touchdown on a screen pass in the third. And as for Quinn, he looked confident. Against Oklahoma, Georgia, and Vandy, it's clear there was a lot of issues that either stem from the mental side of things or confidence, and also probably the fact that he's still hurt. Quinn had set feet, didn't freak out in the pocket, and hit his targets. Once again, he finished 19 and 27 and didn't have an interception, especially to start off on the first drive, which are better stats than we've seen from him lately. His first touchdown pass to Matthew Golden in the first was well planned, and his next touchdown pass to Helm was quick, even with the Florida D-line coming in. Quinn didn't have issues moving around the field, and hopefully this momentum will continue into Fayetteville for the offense.
Yeah, tough matchup coming up with Arkansas for next week. And in this game, their defense kept rolling, but their offense could really back it up. So on the defensive side of the ball, who stood out to you on defense?
Yeah, Texas D forced 3 turnovers, resulting in 21 points that the offense actually took care of this time, something we haven't seen in a bit. Anthony Hill would force a fumble, Trey Moore recovered it, and Gunnar Helm would later get a touchdown on that next drive. Makuba and Ty Anthony Smith recorded interceptions, and all in all, there's really nothing Florida could do against this veteran defense. Hill recorded 8 total tackles. Kobe Black and Makuba had 6, and Smith had 5. The guy that stood out most to me, though, was Trey Moore. You heard a lot today at football press conference media availability, and Moore recorded 2 tackles for loss and 4 solo tackles. Moore almost recorded his first sack, but Florida's Aiden Warner fell for a no gain. If I were Warner, I would have had my eye on Alfred Collins all game long, just on the fact that he's such a big presence on that D-line. The 5th-year D-lineman continues to be one of the most effective threats for the defense, recording 2 tackles on Saturday. Texas defense didn't need to record any sacks to really force Florida to adjust, covering the line, and more than the line, the backfield especially.
Yeah, the defense was trademark Texas defense this year. And now moving ahead to this Arkansas game, an old rivalry will be renewed in 5 days. The Hogs and the Longhorns, they've only played 3 times over the last 20 years, but these 2 programs' history goes way back. You ask Sark, he says they hate UT over there. And so what does Texas need to look out for this weekend when they go to Arkansas?
Yeah, like you said, first of all, it's just going to be a crazy environment. And like Sark said earlier this summer, Arkansas hates Texas more than they love themselves. Texas leads Arkansas 56-23, with hopes to make it 57-23 after their trip to Fayetteville. Arkansas has been on and off this season, beating number 7 Tennessee, Auburn, and demolishing Mississippi State. But on the other hand, they lost to OSU in overtime, A&M, and LSU. But for Texas, this will be a test of how much a rivalry factors into how the Longhorns play, almost like a precursor to the A&M game. The Hogs had a bye week to prepare for this weekend, and you can expect for Rashad Dubion and Andrew Armstrong to be the strongest for the Razorbacks. Dubion put together a 12-carry, 49-yard game against Ole Miss, which obviously they're having a big season. But he's had a stronger rushing game and has proven to be a good receiver. As for Armstrong, he caught 6 passes on 8 targets for 135 yards. But if Texas keeps their confidence and goes to Donald W. Reynolds Stadium in the same fashion they came to DKR this past weekend, there's really not much Arkansas can do to prevent another top 25 loss. We're going to see the Southwestern Conference rivalry reignited Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. A rivalry renewed, and the Longhorns get their first true road SEC game. Well, Campbell, thank you so much. I'm going to toss it back to Ayan at the desk.
Much appreciated, Ikey and Campbell. When we return to College Press Box, Texas soccer won a nail-biter in the SEC Championship Final. Nolan Clay returns to update us on how the Longhorns secured victory in the first SEC tournament. We will be right back. Welcome back to College Press Box. Texas soccer competed in its third conference championship match in the last 4 seasons. And for now, I'll send it over to Ayan in the corner. Thanks, Ikey. By Nolan Clay, who's rejoining the show to update us on how Texas soccer competed this past Sunday. How's it going, Nolan?
It's going great. I had so much fun watching Texas soccer compete in the SEC tournament this weekend, and they won it, and that was incredible in their first ever season. So I'm so excited to talk about it.
Always nice to get a win, but what did you think the Longhorns' road to the title was like, and how were they able to become the first SEC championship in Texas history?
Yeah, the Longhorns had to go through 3 very tough teams to capture the title. The road to glory started on Tuesday when the Horns faced up against the LSU Tigers. The first half was very much a stalemate between both of the squads, but in the second half, Texas flexed their star power with a goal from Amalia Villarreal and 2 from Holly Ward, with star midfielder Lexi Misimo providing the assist for one of them. After a 3-0 win versus LSU, the Horns matched up against the high-flying attack of the Arkansas Razorbacks in the semifinal. And to be honest with you, Arkansas really dominated this game. The Razorbacks had 15 shots on goal compared to the Longhorns with 5. However, thanks to an own goal, an incredible defensive effort, and this miraculous goal from Lauren Lapamarda at the end of double overtime, the Longhorns were able to steal a 2-1 win over 2-seeded Arkansas. The Horns would have 2 days to rest on the Pensacola beach before their matchup in the final versus the feisty South Carolina Gamecocks. Like the last game, Texas really struggled to get anything going. However, late in the second half, when legs were starting to get tired, Texas found an extra gear to apply pressure on the Gamecocks. Eventually, this led to the championship-winning goal when Lexi Misimo sent in a beautiful cross from the corner, which was met by a powerful head from Texas defender Carly Montgomery at the back post, putting Texas up 1-0. There will be some scary moments at the end of the game, but Texas was able to hang on and win the SEC tournament in their first ever year in the conference. What an achievement.
Yeah, I mean, that was a massive win for Texas, just being the first SEC chip for them to win. But the players on this squad did a lot of great things, but which player had the biggest role in helping Texas secure this SEC title?
Yeah, I don't really want to pat myself on the back too much here, but I do recall on last week's show where I told everyone Mia Justice would be the Longhorns' most important player in this tournament. And wow, was I right. Mia Justice was absolutely sensational in this tournament from start to finish. She was an absolute force of nature in the box, claiming every cross that came her way, and don't even get me started with the saves she made. In the Arkansas game alone, Mia Justice made save after save after save, totaling a career-high 14 saves in a single game. That's superhuman. In the final, Justice was not quite as busy as she was against the Razorbacks, but she still had an incredible performance, which was highlighted by a title-saving save with just over 5 minutes left in the game. Now, I've watched a lot of tournament soccer in my life, including World Cups, the Champions League, the Euros, and the Copa America, but I can say this with confidence that this was definitely one of the best goalkeeper performances in tournament soccer that I've ever seen. I know soccer is a team sport, but simply put, Texas does not win this tournament without the excellence displayed in goal last week by SEC tournament MVP Mia Justice.
Yeah, now the NCAA tournament awaits for the Horns. What does their path to the national championship look like, and what do they need to do if they really want to win the title?
Yeah, as you said, the Longhorns are now entering the NCAA tournament, and that's where their full focus must go now. On Monday, the Longhorns found out their fate as they were awarded a number 4 seed in their respective bracket. The Longhorns' first test will be against the Patriot League champion Boston Terriers in a game that will be held at Texas' own Mike A. Myers Stadium. If the Longhorns are going to make a deep run in this tournament, they're going to have to go through some of the nation's best squads. This includes some of the teams in their bracket, including the number 1 seed Duke Blue Devils, the number 2 seed UCLA Bruins, and the number 3 seed Iowa Hawkeyes. I know the Longhorns just won the SEC championship, but if they want to get past these teams, there are a few things they need to improve on. During the games against Arkansas and South Carolina, Texas was pinned in defensively throughout large parts of the 2 occasions. This made it hard for the Horns to maintain any possession and take pressure off their defense. They got away with it last week, but if that same game script continues, eventually a top team is going to take advantage and beat the Horns. The good thing is the Longhorn team is loaded with talent and is led by a great coach in Angela Kelly. So you can be sure that they will be working hard to fix any small tactical issues heading into the big dance.
Yeah, they say good teams make adjustments as they go on, and that good teams find a way to win. And I think your insight really makes a lot of sense for the Longhorns in this current state. But as for right now, that's all from us. I'm going to pass it back to Ikey at the desk.
Thank you to Ayan and Nolan over there for that wonderful insight, and congratulations to Coach Kelly on her wonderful team wins last week in the SEC championship. When we return to College Press Box, the NCAA season for men's and women's basketball has officially begun. Giorgy Ruiz returns to fill us in on Texas hoops. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Texas men's and women's basketball has finally returned with much hype for both rosters. TSTV Sports' Debanny Cerda covered men's basketball this past weekend, and our co-host Ikey Kohler this past Sunday covering women's basketball. Both have valuable insight in the home debuts of both squads. Here's what they got to witness.
First dates are kind of hard. You never know what to expect. And just like Texas, you might be a little out of practice. But by the second date, you might just be a pro. And things were rolling for Texas in their second game of the season tonight.
When you bring in, we got 10 new guys. We have 6 transfers. Those guys have all had different roles and opportunities at other places. I think the biggest thing we've tried to do is buy into a positive team mindset. Everybody gets a chance to compete at a very high level. We win at a high level. EBE, everybody gets a chance to eat. Be a star in your role.
6 guys were in double figures.
The speed of the game, while it's going to slow down mentally, our bodies are going to speed up physically, and it's going to be something a little crazy come January.
For Johnson, this is just the beginning.
I'm still going out here. I'm playing for my teammates. Every play I make is to win for my teammates, so it's really no pressure on the offensive end if I have a bad night, because I know I can play defense and give effort and just be a good teammate. So that's the main things I'm trying to get lost into, and I've been doing that lately and been having a great offensive night. So just looking forward to keep doing those same things.
Trey Johnson would continue his reign of terror on the court, finishing the night off with 29 points. Texas will tip off against Chicago State here on Tuesday. That's all from me, Debanny Cerda, TSTV Sports.
The Longhorns beat the SEMO Redhawks this afternoon, 119-47, and they completely dominated. A storyline coming into this was that 8 players were returning from last year's team, but this afternoon it was some new faces in the program that really shined.
Kyla Oldacre showed out in her Longhorns debut. The junior posted a career high of 21 points in her first game at the Moody Center.
I didn't know I even scored that much. I didn't even know I even scored or rebounded that much as well. I have one job, and that's to be the 5 player that does what Coach wants to do, and I felt like I did that today. So that was my motivation, honestly.
Also making her debut was true freshman Brianna Preston. The former 4-star was a court general, and she worked at a relentless pace. The Georgia native put up 11 points, and she was one of 6 Longhorns scoring in double figures. Her ball handling ability will be one the Longhorns welcome as they look to make a run in SEC play.
In addition to Kyla Oldacre and Brianna Preston showing out in their Longhorns debut, Rory Harmon returned, sidelined from almost a year after she tore her ACL last season. Her and Madison Booker helped lead the Longhorns to their 13th straight home opening win. And in addition, Coach Schaefer's 40th season as a coach, his 20th as a head coach, starts off with a massive victory. The Longhorns return next Wednesday to play Lamar here at the Moody Center Wednesday night. And that's all from the Moody Center. I'm Ikey Kohler reporting for TSTV.
We're glad to have both teams heading in the right direction really early on in the season. I'm going to send it over to Ikey with a special guest.
Yeah, I'm here with the special guest, Giorgy Ruiz. Giorgy, how you doing today?
Great. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Thanks for joining us on College Press Box.
Just ready to talk some Texas basketball.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. Yeah. Now, first, we're going to talk about the men's basketball with their Las Vegas debut against Ohio State and their home debut against Houston Christian. Now, how did those games go, and what are some key takeaways that you saw from both games?
Well, Texas men's basketball, with a team featuring 6 returners, 6 transfers, and 4 freshmen, is still kind of finding their rhythm. Their debut game showcased star freshman Che Johnson, which we'll talk about more later, about a sturdy offensive run, but did show some flaws in the Texas defense. Ohio State nailed 14 out of 28 three-pointers, while Texas just hit 7 out of 28. The Longhorns defense struggled to contain the Buckeyes from deep, allowing them to build an early lead Texas couldn't overcome. After Texas cut the lead to 3 in the second half, Ohio State responded with a 7-0 run to regain control and to secure the win. But switching over to the Moody Center for their home opener against Houston Christian, Texas bounced back with a dominant 90-59 win, showcasing a much improved defense. 6 Longhorns scored in the double figures, while Texas held Houston Christian to the 25.9% shooting in the second half, outscoring them 48-24 and converting over 54.3% of their own shots. The second half surge underscored Texas' potential to tighten up defensively and make their mark as the season progressive. They have some really notable transfers like Arthur Kaluma with 10 rebounds on that game, and Indiana transfers Julian Larry and Jason Kent, who showcased their dedication to this team. And Texas had a really good showing, but they would have to maintain this rhythm if they plan on going far into March Madness.
Now, switching into the UT women's basketball team, how did they do in their matchup against the SEMO Redhawks?
You know what? This number 4 women's Texas basketball team dazzled in their season opener, crushing SEMO from 119-47 at Moody Center, marking their 13th consecutive home opener win. This was a night of show-stopping plays with 6 Longhorns lighting up the scoreboard in double-dip figures. Kyla Oldacre led the charge, dropping 21 points and pulling down 14 boards from a dominant double-double. Madison Booker kept the crowd on their feet with 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Taylor Jones scored a flawless 18 on 8 for 8 shooting, making a triumphant return from nearly a year away. Rory Harmon chipped in at 10 points and dished out 7 assists. Texas burst out with a 34-15 lead after the first quarter, later pulling off a 12-0 second quarter run that buried that SEMO for good. Their lockdown defense forced 33 turnovers and held them to 29.5% shooting, something you really don't see often. And one thing you can see from these women are their amazing teamwork and flow of their passing game. They react with no hesitation and make some fast passes with such smoothness that just makes it look way too easy. These Texas women had a statement win this Sunday, and Texas fans are keeping their eye on them, believe that they can make a stellar run going into March Madness, and we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it felt like they were always in transition in that game and had some no-look passes. And I know Coach Schaefer was happy after the victory. And with all these new players on both teams, who are some players we need to keep an eye on, and what do you think they can accomplish in the future?
Okay, well, just going to Texas women's basketball, they're stacked this season, and then they have 4 players ready to dominate. But my eyes are on Rory Harmon and Madison Booker, who earned spots on the prestigious John R. Wooden Award preseason watch list. But with this duo of Madison Booker and Rory Harmon, Booker returns after a star-making freshman season with Harmon's back from injury with an elite playmaking defense. This duo is a lot of the Texas, or something Texas fans were waiting to see play. And Booker's elite rebound game mixed with the stellar defense of Harmon playmaking abilities showcase the work that they can put in together to make the dynamic that just falls over the rest of the team. And these players are ready to make waves and keep Texas women's basketball in the spotlight. And, you know, they do have some other star transfers and star players, so we got to make sure we keep our eye on them. But my opinion, the player of all Texas basketball we need to keep an eye on is freshman prodigy Trey Johnson. He put up 29 points in his first game in the Las Vegas Hall of Fame against Ohio State, and his first game with Texas, making it a record high, with many of them being threes beyond the arc. He matched that energy with 28 points against HCU, and the only person to come close to those points was Longhorn legend Kevin Durant when he put up 20 points in his first game. And not only is he good offensively, but his defense game is just wow. With him averaging almost 5 rebounds per game. And, you know, we're just going to make sure we keep an eye on them, because as a freshman prodigy, we need to make sure that Texas basketball can work around him and also just work as a team. And we're really excited to see how he can do. And I know he's definitely going to go into that Longhorn Hall of Fame.
Yep, I agree. Ronnie Terry looking to lead their team to the Elite Eight, or to the second weekend of the tournament, while the women's team have been to 3 Elite Eights in the last 4 years. So a lot of star power here with both basketball teams. With that being said, thank you, Giorgy, for joining us. And let's get back to Ayan at the desk.
Thank you, Ikey and Giorgy. When we return to College Press Box, we'll take a look at the past week in Longhorn sports and look forward to what's to come. Stick around with us on College Press Box. Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports. As you know, it's been a massive week in Longhorn sports. Some bigger noise comes from number 4, Texas women's basketball. Texas has not only 1, not 2, but 3 athletes on the preseason watch list for the Wooden Award, as Giorgy mentioned earlier. Rory Harmon, Madison Booker, and Layla Filia are among 50 players on the preseason list for most outstanding player in NCAA basketball. Harmon returns after only playing 12 games last season due to injury. Booker is looking to top her amazing freshman season, and Filia is a key transfer who is looking to end her college career on top.
UT Volleyball ended their 3-game losing streak last Wednesday in Starkville, taking down Mississippi State 3-1. The Longhorns lost 3 straight to Texas A&M, Missouri, and Oklahoma, respectively. All three of those losses went 5 sets. The Longhorns will finish the regular season with a tough 3-match road trip and 2 more matches at Gregory Gym.
Kelvin Banks is now a semifinalist for the Lombardi Award. Since starting all 13 games in his true freshman season, Kelvin Banks Jr. has been an anchor for the revamped offensive line that head coach Steve Sarkisian has built since his arrival. With the season coming to an end very shortly, and after starting every game this season, Banks finds himself as a semifinalist for the coveted Lombardi Award, an honor given to college football's best linemen. With Banks racking up multiple weekly awards, it seemed like a no-brainer for Banks Jr. to be on this list. And with 3 games left, the blindside blocker has plenty of opportunities to pave his way to being a Lombardi finalist. Now, let's take a look at this week in Longhorn sports. On Wednesday, the 13th, women's basketball will play Lamar at 7 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. Friday, volleyball takes on Auburn at 6:30 on SEC Network Plus. And then Saturday, football travels to Arkansas for an 11 a.m. kick on ABC, and men's basketball will take on Mississippi Valley State at 4 p.m. on SEC Network Plus.
On Sunday, November 11th, UT Volleyball travels to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama at 12 p.m., and that'll be on ESPN. And also on Sunday, women's basketball travels to DePaul, and that game will be at 6:30 in the evening on Fox. That will conclude this weekend's edition of College Press Box. Make sure to tune in to our other shows this week, including College Crossfire on Wednesday nights, airing at 9 p.m., and the One and O Sports Show on Fridays at 11 a.m. Thank you to our analysts, everyone in the Master Control Room, our executive producer, Joseph Duffy, and everyone else at TSTV. I'm Ikey Kohler. He's Ayan Masud. Want to wish all the veterans out there a happy Veterans Day, and thank you for joining us, and have a good night.